What is up, guys? I am back. I finished catching up on Arrow tonight, and I'm doing the video. It's 2 in the morning. I finished the last video at like 1 in the morning, like 1:15ish. It's crazy late. Not really. I'm normally up this time anyways. I just haven't been productive. Arrow, episode 17, Brotherhood in Arms. Wow. That is why I was excited for it. Normally, when I hear bad comments about an Arrow episode or spoilers or anything like a negative read like a negative headline even, I get upset about the episode and already know I'm not gonna like it. This episode, I was still excited because I had seen all that and then seen the lead up, and I could see why John was upset, and it made sense that they fought. A lot of people were like, oh, John wouldn't do that, John's too good. Like, John's had some very questionable calls. Oliver called all of his bullshit out, just like John called all his bullshit out. John's fucked up a lot too. People don't realize that. They just say, oh, John's the perfect soldier. He's not. I think it showed a lot of John's character flaws and Oliver's this episode, and that's why I loved it. And I knew it would be somewhat intense, but that was fucking. I was like, my chest just was, ooh, what the fuck is about to happen here? It got intense as flippin' frick, dude. Holy cow. So, let's run through this. Kind of ignoring that whole part of it for now. So, Dinah catches Anatoly in an alleyway with her cop force of clean cops, aside from all the dirty ones. It's the ones that she thought she could trust. And so they capture Anatoly, take her into the police office. Captain Hill is super confused, and this is after like they took like a week break. Flash is on like a 3-week break right now. Arrow took like a 2-week earlier on. So Flash was ahead for a little, and now they're kind of lining back up. Actually, I don't think Flash is back till possibly the 17th. I don't even know. No, it's not till even the 24th, it looks like. So I think Arrow's about to go on another break, I would guess, after this episode. It left on a pretty big cliffhanger too, so it would make sense why. Let's see here. So they had a week in between these last 2 episodes apparently, which was enough time for Dinah to get that police force together. So they capture Anatoly. The police chief and the DA set Anatoly free based on the warrant that they did not have to arrest. They didn't have an arrest warrant, which legally could be a big problem, but Anatoly's a giant crime lord, so things like that obviously get waived all the time. I'm studying a little bit of law right now this semester, and so like if this is like if Bin Laden came to America, which he never would have, but say he came to America, somehow got smuggled in, was hiding in Oklahoma or somewhere in a random spot, and they sent in a force to go in and catch him, and he was out, and they got him and brought him in without an arrest warrant. He's not even a citizen of the United States, so it's different a little bit. Neither is Anatoly, though. So they arrested him for the crimes. They would have arrested Bin Laden. They probably would have shot on sight, to be honest. Anyways, but say they bring him in, that whole due process gets waived immediately. Anatoly's not a U.S. citizen, so none of that should have even applied. That's a minor plot hole on the legal side of things, which they're trying to kind of implement, but they did a pretty shitty job on that one. They definitely dropped the ball on there. Anyways, so Anatoly gets free, kills one of the officers. That he's like, I've seen your face, now you're screwed. So Diaz sits on his car and lectures him for a second. Anatoly kills him. They leave the body for the police to find. Diana takes her team to a remote location where they can't be found and brings Curtis along to be the tech guy, so he can hang out with his new buddy. It's a police officer, and we're definitely going to see more of that flesh out here soon because he's going to be an important character. We'll get to that when it gets there. And so because of this body and because Oliver now knows the DA and the police captain are working with Diaz for sure after waiving Anatoly, he brings them into his office and he goes, you two are working with Ricardo Diaz. And the DA tries to shake it off for a minute here. It's like, I don't know what you're talking. Oliver knows for sure that they're both working. He's like, okay, why did he leverage you into doing this? And he has footage of my family. Oh, we can protect them. Oh, he has my son, like, and he's paying for his chemo or his leukemia treatments, his chemo. And so Oliver's like, well, we'll pay for it. And he's like, the city's bankrupt, like, you can't protect any blah 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 blah, questioning his leadership, which we see more and more throughout the episode. And so he fires them both immediately so that they don't have a position of power. Before Captain Hill is gone, she fires all the good cops that are left, leaving the dirty ones on the force. And Diaz can probably just buy out the next police chief if he wanted to. There's now a DA position, which is what I want to get to next, is the Black Siren Laurel has started studying law. And she is in bed with Diaz. Like, literally in bed with Diaz. So, there at the end of the episode, I'll spoil it now, is Diaz is supplying her with drugs. And she's an addict, much like Quentin, which is going to be a bigger plot point developed later on because he's an alcoholic. She's a drug addict that's very, very similar, and I'm pretty sure he's going to be the only thing that can pull her out, literally, like actually. The only thing that will be able to get her out of that situation is him, knowing what he knows about alcohol addiction. That's getting real, but like that's what's going to happen. So back to the Arrow Cave, where everything's going on. Diggle is upset at Oliver at the beginning of the episode. He gets upset with Oliver about not telling him about the hood. And he needs to clear the air. So he leaves, goes to talk to Lila, comes back, and things seem good, right? Cool. Then they go out in the field, and Oliver says, back off of the guy he's interrogating. And John doesn't like the call and continues to interrogate him. They lose their focus from interrogating him, and the girl he was with shoots him and says, oh, I'm with Diaz. Like, why they didn't interrogate her, she's probably harder to break, to be honest. But John doesn't like the call, so they go back to the bunker, and John gets mad again. He's like, I need more air. I need to go figure this out. He goes to Lila again. She says, you need to figure out why you're upset at Oliver before you go in demanding the hood. So he figures that kind of out, goes to talk to Oliver again, and they go back and forth, and they throw some low fucking blows. And he goes, Diggle goes, everyone that is around here leaves. You leave a trail of bodies. Some crazy ass shit. And Oliver goes back at him like, you let Ricardo Diaz sell you drugs that injured you and permanently did nerve damage to your body, and you didn't tell anybody. You went out as the Arrow and didn't tell anybody this was going on. You almost let Renee die. And he goes, well, you almost let, you broke Renee's rib, and he's in the hospital right now. And those are all very valid points, and they expose the shit out of each other. And that last thing that Diggle threw at him was, you leave a trail of bodies everywhere you go. And Oliver walks up to him, and I knew it wasn't going to happen, but I wanted Oliver to stand up and be like, I need you to leave right now. I just wanted him to walk up, say, I need you to leave. You can't be the Spartan anymore. You took it too far. But instead, he goes, at least one of those bodies doesn't include my brother. And everyone's like, oh, shit. Like, when he said that, I was just like, oh my god, you fucking asshat. Like, that was like way over the line, totally uncalled for. And it leads to it, like, not that conversation, but everything that has happened this season leads to Oliver pushing John away, and John leaves the team. And him leaving honestly did not surprise me. He needed a break from the team. Obviously, the going behind the team and not telling them about the drugs was obviously not a big enough break for him, and space away from the field for him to really get his head back on straight. And I think him going to Argus and playing a more supporting role for a little while will be a good thing. And Oliver being alone is going to show him how much he really needs help, especially in this situation. So Diggle joins Argus. All those police are fired, and Dinah and Mr. Terrific, Echo Kellum, Curtis is gonna be building kind of like a vigilante police force, which I'm excited to see what it turns out to be. They haven't given it a name. I have an idea of what they might be building. Just some guesses based on some comic book names, but we'll see what they eventually go at, what kind of reiteration they want to build with this team. And like I said, with Curtis's new boyfriend, we'll see some more there. And yeah, that's about it. They didn't do much. I mean, they stopped the influx of cash for Diaz when they went back out in the field. But Oliver's alone now. Oh, excuse me, I was super tired. But one of the things is that Oliver's now totally solo. And in the promo, Felicity looks like she's gonna leave too. She needs some space, is what she says. I don't know if that's like a joke or what, but like basically, like Oliver's like, obviously you guys don't like listen to me, or you guys think you don't need me, so I'm going solo. And he's literally gonna take Diaz by himself, which I think he can honestly do. I don't see why he couldn't do something like that. If Felicity could actually pinpoint where like Diaz was, like where his hideout was, if she could just do that for him, and he goes in solo, in no restraint, he could do it. Obviously, there'd probably have to be a couple things in place for him to successfully do it. Like Siren can't be there. If Laurel's there, that causes a bit of a problem because she has powers. He doesn't. Yes, he can restrain her, but when he has to restrain her, go up against Anatoly and his men, go up against Diaz and all his men, we haven't even seen Diaz fight really yet. But he's a martial artist. He's a badass. So he's trained the Question in the comics. So it's like Rorschach from the Watchmen is basically a different version. The Question, it's they're not the same person even in the multiverse, but they're kind of like similar style of badass. So like the Batman, he's like Rorschach is the Batman of the Watchmen, but like the Question is like a Batman, like, oh, like all this bad shit's happened to me, I'm gonna be a badass. Like the Question could not probably beat the Batman, but he could fucking put up a good fight. So like the Dragon's like legit, and in the comics he's more of like maybe like an anti-hero. So is the Question. So they're kind of like fuck the system kind of guys. They don't really answer to anybody. But for the most part, the Dragon's like a good guy. Like, not this crime lord. This is a different version that we're seeing in the show. Yeah, so that's that. I'm gonna head to bed here because it's late. But that is episode 17, Brothers in Arms. I'm really excited to see the next episode. I don't have the title yet. It's probably on Wikipedia if you want to look at it. Tomorrow I'll be doing Run Irish Run and Nolan Annoyed from Flash, and I got a stream tomorrow. I also got to get a couple other things together, but that's okay. You guys have a good night, good morning, whatever it is for you when you're watching this, if you're watching